Speaker.
Barbara Stewart.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise on behalf of New Zealand First to oppose the third reading of this bill. It's with great disappointment that we do so. We thought that there were some reasonable parts in this bill when we first saw it, but on closer inspection we found they weren't. This bill in itself is a total contradiction. On the surface it looks good, but it is not even nearly right. It's not near enough. It is so far out, it's absolutely terrible. I feel very sorry for those people. We all know that near enough is not good enough, and this bill shows that example totally. New Zealand First has always said that we recognise the right of every New Zealander to equality of opportunity. We know that in many cases the real handicap to full participation in society for people with disabilities is not the disability itself, but environmental barriers, ill-informed attitudes and inadequate support services. And this bill smacks of all of the above. The legislation is a lost opportunity. Fairness in this legislation is an illusion. It's a little bit like smoke and mirrors. Caring is a very important issue in the disability sector, and we were looking forward to seeing this issue finally settled. It has been around on the agenda for many, many years, and we wanted a fair solution. We think it's a sad day for families providing care for their loved ones. It's disrespectful to the carers and to our disabled community. I know of families that were initially quite excited when they heard about this bill, but it severely limits the rates that carers can be paid for the very important job they do. What they have ended up with, as the Dominion Post has said, is a half-baked scheme with a start date in October, and there is nothing really specific to work out what families are going to get. The opportunity was there to do more, but actually nothing has been and can be done. The bottom line is that the government hasn't got this legislation right, and I think that was shown by the number of supplementary order papers that the Honourable Ruth Dyson actually placed on the table. Unfortunately, the Honourable Ruth Dyson did not get the opportunity to even discuss those supplementary order papers, something that usually happened in this House. The fact that the regulatory impact statement has so many pages that were blanked, or in this case blacked out, is not the regular practice of this House, and definitely doesn't reassure anyone, and more so the opposition, that what we're looking at is all of the facts on this particular issue. I know that the government itself, if the same situation was presented to them when they were on this side of the House, would have screamed loud and long. This is not the usual practice to bring legislation into the House. It's just amazing to us on this side of the House. The regulatory impact statement was only tabled this morning, and basically it has been of little use to anyone at all. The second thing that is very perturbing about this particular piece of legislation is that the democratic process has been totally ignored. The process for this legislation needed to be fair and just. The bill needed to go through all of the stages and have public input and have consumer input as well, something that hasn't been done. We in New Zealand First would have liked to have seen the Parliament, all of the Parliament, support this particular bill. Disability is an issue that we all feel very strongly about, and we want the best for carers and for their family members. It's a very complex issue, and it did not deserve to be pushed through this House under urgency. The bill needed to go to Select Committee. The Health Select Committee is a good committee for a bill like this to go to, so that people affected by the bill could have actually had some input. We would have liked to have heard from family carers. We would have liked to have heard by people that are directly affected by this bill. We know that family carers play a very important role in caring for their disabled family members. The focus should have been on ensuring that the outcome was positive for carers and for their loved ones. The high threshold that is required for this payment is not really fair in this case. The third big negative is that carers will be paid less than the minimum wage when one works it out, which is totally unfair. We would always stand up for people that are paid less than the minimum wage. Spouses and their partners are excluded, which presents challenges. We know that people get very precious. No, they're very caring about their people that they look after, and they don't like others to look after them. Those things that people hold precious, their privacy, does need to be respected. $14,365 per carer, will that really meet their needs in today's day and age? I don't really think so. Mr. Speaker, the measures that are actually proposed by this bill are totally inadequate. They are not enough. Carers are hard-working, they're compassionate people working in a very demanding role, and quite often, very often in fact, they get no thanks for the role that they're carrying out. It's not an easy role to be a carer. You have to we provide a great service 24/7. The carers actually give up every aspect of their lives. I know of one couple that have got a 24-year-old disabled daughter. The father works at home, hasn't got a job out in the community, and to survive, the mother goes out at night and works during the night hours. It's not easy. And then when we read in this bill, in the impact statement, in the general policy statement, in amending the New Zealand Public Health and Disability Act 2000, the bill allows the government to reduce the ongoing litigation costs while also allowing the government to implement policies of paying family carers where it wishes to do so. Where it wishes to do so. I think that is a real cheek, a real hit in the face for those families that are working so hard and doing such a great job for their disabled members. Mr. Speaker, New Zealand First cannot support this bill. We would have liked to, but we feel that disabled people and their families have been really shortchanged in this instance.
Dr.
Speaker.
Chang Yang.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I want to emphasise